What's going on, everybody? I hope you are doing great. I am doing great because I'm super pumped for today's topic, which literally is one of my favorite topics: how to become financially independent in 2020. Before we dive in, let's quickly roll the intro. Welcome to my channel, welcome to my show, Elevate. I'm super pumped to have you here as a guest. And if you are here for the very first time, let me quickly introduce myself and tell you what this show and this podcast is all about. My name is Fabian and I'm financially free since I'm 35 years old. I'm a keynote speaker, network marketing professional, trainer, and book author. My life goal is basically to show other people how to do the same as I did. Now let's dive into the topic, how to become financially independent in 2020. This is literally my favorite topic because obviously you can not only apply those rules in 2020, you can apply those rules for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you could even have done it in the past already, but it's kind of weird because you cannot watch a video I'm recording today in the past. I mean, if you could do that, you would be a magician. Anyways, let's dive into the topic right now and let's cover what changed my life completely. So before I tell you the number one secret, how to become financially independent, let's talk about quickly what financially independence actually means. I love one definition I heard once from one of my mentors, T. Harv Eker, who is a billionaire in the personal development industry. And he once said, "Financial freedom is the ability to live your life how you want it without having to work for it or being dependent on a third party." That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So if you find a way to make that kind of money you think you need to live the life of your dreams and you don't have to work for it anymore, or in other words, creating a residual or passive income stream or several income streams, there you have it. That should be your goal. So here's the big question: how to do that? There are many ways on our planet Earth to do that, but there are some rules and laws of success, as I mentioned in the beginning, which you have to apply to get to that point. Okay, now I want to take you a few years back in my life. Let's jump into the year 2013. In this year, my wife and I were living on Canary Islands, which is a small island belonging to Spain, but very close to the African border. Amazing climate, ocean, amazing beaches, amazing. We actually call it the Hawaii of Europe. And we loved it over there. We have built a few businesses, actually. We've built a catering service, a personal training academy, and 2 fitness clubs. And we needed around 6 years to do that because nobody tells you how it works, right? If you are in the world of entrepreneurship, it's so hard to find someone who can really tell you how success works. After 6 years, we had a lot of free time. We did not have to be in the gym every single day. We could spend some time at the beach in the morning, work in the afternoon. Life was great. And then financial crisis came to Spain. If you remember, financial crisis starting in like 2008, 2009. In Spain, it came a bit later and we had the peak at 2013. We had 33% unemployed people on the island, and imagine what happens if you own a service-based business like a gym and people have no money. That's right, they just don't pay you anymore, or they just don't come anymore. So our revenue dropped by 50%. We had to terminate the contracts with our employees and we had to work within the business instead of on the business again. Meaning opening up at 7 o'clock, locking the door at 11 p.m. every single day, but that also means that we had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning because we need to clean everything and we need to prepare everything before we actually open the door. And in the evening, you can imagine, you don't lock the door at 11 and go straight home. No, you have to again clean everything, prepare everything for the next day, or at least half of it, so you don't have too much work the other morning. So we were at a stage of our lives where we were craving for an opportunity. Because we tried being self-employed, it worked out for a while, but again, we were just building our own employment. We were self-employed. We were no business owners, and there's a big difference. So basically what happened, like one day, I was standing in the gym, I was at the reception, just covering the reception for the few clients we still had, and I look outside because literally my reception was half a level down, so when I looked outside I had the street on my eye level. And I see that Mercedes SL 500 parking right in front of my gym. Man, I've never seen a car like that over here. Remember, it's a small island. We're not talking about Tokyo, Dubai, New York, LA, Berlin, whatever. We're talking about a tiny, tiny island in Spain, close to the African border, right? So I look at that car and I'm thinking, who might leave that car? And there's something what we call belief system. So my old belief system, if you want so, was thinking, okay, so the person who owns the car must be very rich, must be very old, because you cannot be young and rich. That just doesn't work, because you need to work hard to become rich, right? And for sure is wearing a suit, or if it's a lady, is wearing a costume, very elegant. For sure having a Rolex, maybe a little bit of jewelry. So I'm observing the car, the door opens, and I just see sneakers. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Then I see jeans popping up. Then a guy comes around to the door, closes the door. And this guy was maybe 25, 26 years old. He was wearing a t-shirt, no Rolexes, nothing fancy. Like pretty normal, right? He comes down the stairs. And here's my second thought. Maybe his father's rich. You got me, right? That's what we always think. So we never accept that somebody might be successful because there's a lot of jealousy involved. So we try to make up excuses why this person has something we don't have. This is all what we call belief system, but maybe I do another video about belief system in the future. This guy comes down, stops at the reception, looks at me and says, "Are you Fabian?" I said, "Depends who asks." He said, "Yes, I'm interested in personal training." I'm saying, yeah, I do offer personal training. And here's the thing, I had 3 packages. Okay, I had a very large package, $5,000. I had a mid-sized package, $2,000, and I had a small package for $1,000. My trick always was, I first offer the high one, the 5,000. Nobody ever has taken that. But then the 2,000 package looks kind of small in comparison, and people tend to take the middle. So it's a sales strategy, basically. So I start offering him the packages. I'm just done with my benchmark pack, okay, the big one. And he says, okay, I take it. And I was like, okay, because that never happened before. And I say, that's a great choice. Amazing. Everybody does it. So actually, he buys the big package. And that was fine because I knew he has money. I mean, he just arrived with an amazing, expensive car. But then something happens what kind of changed my perspective forever. I ask him, when would you like to work out? And he says, you can choose, I am flexible. Boom, like a slap in my face, right? I was, wait a second, you're flexible, so which means you have money and you have time? I don't know anybody who has money and time, because all the entrepreneurs I knew, they had money, but they had no time because they were working all day long. The people I knew who had time mostly had no money because they were not working. I also knew people who had no time and no money. I guess you know some of them as well. But somebody who has both, amazing. We started training together and we actually became friends. So a few months later, I thought to myself, man, he could become my tour guide. I need to talk to him. I need to find out what he has done differently than what I have done. He's younger than me, he's more successful, and he has what I want to have. So I need to ask him. Next training session comes up and I say, listen, I do have a very important question. I will continue training you, no worries, but I don't want to live my life in those conditions how I'm living right now, because I literally have no time for myself. Money is super short right now due to the financial crisis. What can I do better? And he says, Fabian, here's the secret. It is super simple. You only need 2 things, and now listen carefully, okay? You only need 2 things to financial independence. You need a system and you need a leverage. Okay, you need a system and you need a leverage. I got it. No, I didn't. The truth is, it sounded amazing, but I didn't know what he wanted to tell me, right? So, and I asked him, I say, okay, can you clarify? Can you really tell me what you mean by that? And then he explained me, and then it made click. He said, okay, let me give you an example. Do you want to stack hamburgers in a McDonald's branch? I was like, I would do it if I have to. Like, I would do any job if I need money, right? But it's not a life goal, to be honest. He says, okay, great. Another question. And we're not talking about if you like the food and if it's healthy or not, but would you like to own a McDonald's branch? So like, yeah, 100%. Would you like to own several branches? I'm like 1,000%. And he says, see, and you know why? Because it has a system and it has a leverage. Let me explain you. The burger is just a system. It's the same all around the world. It doesn't matter if you go in Singapore, in Dubai, in Tokyo, Berlin, LA, New York, wherever you want, the burger will always taste the same. But you're not stacking the burger. Leverage means you find someone you can teach the system, who can do the system, becomes part of the system, and you own the system. For example, owning a branch. So by owning the branch, you will be paid on the production. If you own several branches now, you can imagine what happens. Your production increases, you get more income. That's the whole secret of system and leverage. Basically, he said, look out for something what has a system and a leverage. If you don't find anything you need to create a system and apply a leverage to it. So I started looking around. I found my business model in network marketing and direct sales because I could start doing it part-time. But it's not for everybody. Not everybody has to do what I have done. But if you start applying that knowledge, if you start applying and always thinking about, okay, wait a second, does it have a system and can I apply a leverage to it? Then it makes sense. Because here's one more rule to become financially free. It does not matter what you do, you cannot accept to be limited in income. If there is a limit on the income, if there's any kind of lit, don't do it. Now it's time to go out there, look for something what has a system and leverage, something what works for you, and start owning it. I'm looking forward to hear your success story. Text me in the comments if you have any kind of questions, and I'm going to see you in the next episode.